Have you ever paused to wonder, what is this inner world you experience? This vibrant tapestry of thoughts, feelings, sensations, the very sense of being you? Science can explain how your eyes see light, how your brain processes information, but can it explain the redness of red, the joy of laughter, the sting of sorrow? This is the heart of one of humanity's deepest mysteries, consciousness. Today, we embark on a journey to explore this profound enigma. We'll ask, what is consciousness really? Where does it come from? Is it solely a product of our intricate brain, or could its origins lie elsewhere, perhaps even beyond the physical? And in an age of rapidly advancing technology, we must also confront a startling question. Can machines, can artificial intelligence ever achieve true consciousness? Join us as we delve into the cutting edge of neuroscience, grapple with timeless philosophical debates, consider insights from spiritual traditions, and peer into the future of AI. This isn't just an academic exercise. Understanding consciousness touches upon the very essence of who we are and what our future might hold. What is consciousness? The unfolding mystery. Before we can ask where consciousness comes from, we need to try and define it. But that's where the challenge begins. It's like trying to describe the taste of water, so fundamental, yet so hard to put into words. At its most basic, consciousness involves awareness of your surroundings, the world outside, and awareness of your internal states, your thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. But it's more than just awareness. It's about the quality of that awareness. Philosophers call this qualia, the individual, subjective instances of experience. The redness of a rose, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the melody of a song. These are unique to your experience. How can we explain these private, first-person realities? Then there's self-awareness, the capacity to recognize yourself as an individual, distinct from others and the world. The famous mirror test with animals hints at this, but human self-awareness is far more complex, involving introspection, memory, and a sense of continuous identity. Philosopher David Chalmers famously distinguished between the easy problems and the hard problem of consciousness. The easy problems, relatively speaking, of course, involve understanding how the brain processes information, how it controls behavior, how we focus attention, how we report our mental states. Science is making incredible progress here, but the hard problem is different. It's the question of why and how any of these physical processes in the brain should give rise to subjective experience, to qualia. Why isn't all this information processing done in the dark, without any inner feeling? This is the conceptual chasm that current science struggles to bridge. Consciousness isn't an on-off switch either. There are varying levels, as distinguished by thinkers like Ned Block with concepts such as access consciousness, where information is reportable and available for control, versus phenomenal consciousness, which is the raw experience itself. You can have access to information without truly feeling it, and perhaps vice versa. These levels range from deep sleep, to dreaming, to drowsiness, to full waking alertness, and perhaps even heightened states of awareness reported by meditators or artists in flow. The scientific quest, consciousness and the brain. For many scientists, the search for consciousness begins and ends with the 3-pound marvel between our ears, the human brain. Its complexity is staggering. Billions of neurons, trillions of connections, firing in intricate patterns. The dominant view in neuroscience is that consciousness is an emergent property of this complex neural activity. Just as wetness emerges from water molecules or life emerges from complex chemistry, consciousness is thought to emerge from the brain's workings. Scientists are on a quest to find the neural correlates of consciousness, or NCCs. These are the minimal neural activities jointly sufficient for a specific conscious experience. The idea is, if you can find what flickers in the brain when, say, you suddenly see a face versus when you don't, you're getting closer to the machinery of awareness. Techniques like fMRI, EEG, and MEG allow researchers to peer into the working brain, tracking blood flow and electrical activity associated with conscious states. While consciousness likely isn't localized to a single spot, certain brain areas appear crucial. The thalamus, a relay station deep in the brain, seems to play a role in arousal and gating information to the cortex. The cerebral cortex, particularly the prefrontal cortex involved in higher-level thought, and parietal lobes integrating sensory information, are heavily implicated in conscious awareness and self-perception. Some researchers even point to structures like the claustrum, a thin, irregular sheet of neurons, as a potential conductor of consciousness, though this is still debated. Several prominent theories attempt to explain how the brain might generate consciousness. One influential theory is integrated information theory, or IIT, developed by neuroscientist Giulio Tononi. IIT proposes that consciousness is a fundamental property of any system that can integrate a large amount of information. A system is conscious if it has many different possible states, differentiation, and if these states are interconnected in a way that the whole is more than the sum of its parts, integration. IIT even offers a mathematical measure of this integrated information called phi, suggesting consciousness isn't limited to biological brains but could exist in any system with high phi. Another leading contender is the global neuronal workspace theory, GNWT. Imagine your brain as a theater where most activity is unconscious, backstage. When information is important enough, it's broadcast onto a brightly lit stage, the global workspace, making it available to various cognitive processes. According to GNWT, this global availability of information is what we experience as consciousness. Some theories, like predictive processing, view the brain as a prediction engine, with consciousness possibly arising from the process of minimizing prediction errors or experiencing a coherent model of reality. Despite these fascinating theories and technological advances, science is still far from a complete explanation. Correlation between brain activity and conscious reports isn't causation, and the hard problem of subjective experience remains. Are these theories describing the conditions for consciousness or consciousness itself? The quest continues. Philosophical perspectives, mind, matter, and reality. While scientists probe the brain, philosophers have grappled with the nature of consciousness for millennia, using logic, reason, and thought experiments to ask fundamental questions about the relationship between mind and matter, reality, and experience. The dominant view in contemporary philosophy, mirroring much of neuroscience, is materialism or physicalism. This perspective holds that everything that exists is physical or supervenes on the physical. Consciousness, in this view, is ultimately a physical phenomenon, a complex process, an emergent property, or perhaps even identical to certain states of the brain. For materialists, there's no ghost in the machine. The mind is what the brain does. The challenge is to fully explain how physical processes can give rise to subjective qualia. In stark contrast stands dualism, most famously associated with René Descartes, positing two fundamentally different kinds of things, the physical and the mental. Substance dualism argues that mind and body are distinct substances, a non-physical thinking mind interacting with a physical body. Property dualism suggests one kind of substance, physical, can have both physical and non-physical mental properties, with consciousness being a fundamental, non-reducible property emerging from complex physical systems, but not itself physical. The main challenge for dualism is the interaction problem. If mind is non-physical, how does it interact with the physical? A fascinating alternative is panpsychism, proposing that consciousness, or some rudimentary form of it, is a fundamental and ubiquitous feature of the universe, present in all matter to varying degrees. Human consciousness, then, isn't something that magically springs from non-conscious matter, but is built from simpler, fundamental experiences already present. This view avoids the hard problem by suggesting consciousness was there all along, though critics question the combination of micro-experiences into macro-experiences. Taking a radical turn, idealism suggests that reality is fundamentally mental or consciousness-based. Instead of mind arising from matter, matter arises from or within mind. The physical world is a construct of consciousness or exists as ideas in a universal mind. These philosophical stances profoundly shape how we approach the origin of consciousness. Is it an illusion, an emergent brain product, a separate substance, or a fundamental aspect of reality itself? The debate continues. Beyond the brain, spiritual and non-material insights. While neuroscience focuses on the brain and Western philosophy grapples with mind-matter dualities, many spiritual traditions and unconventional lines of inquiry suggest consciousness might not be entirely confined to the individual brain or the physical realm. These perspectives often emphasize direct, experiential exploration through practices like meditation, proposing models of mind extending beyond the purely material. A recurring idea is universal or cosmic consciousness, an all-pervading field of awareness underlying and connecting everything. Individual consciousness, in this view, isn't generated by our brains. Rather, our brains act more like receivers or filters, tuning into this larger conscious field, much like a radio receives a broadcast signal. Eastern traditions, such as Buddhism and Vedanta, have developed sophisticated psychologies and contemplative practices over millennia to understand mind and consciousness. In Buddhism, concepts like vijnana, consciousness or discernment, and citta, mind or heart-mind, are central. Some schools, like Yogacara, speak of an alaya vijnana or storehouse consciousness, a foundational consciousness holding all experiences. The emphasis is often on the impermanent, conditioned nature of individual conscious moments and the potential for liberated states of awareness through understanding this nature. These traditions highlight introspection and mental training to gain direct insight into consciousness, an approach increasingly explored in dialogue with modern neuroscience. It's important to approach these ideas with respect, recognizing they arise from different epistemological frameworks, often valuing experiential insight. Certain anomalous experiences, like extensively documented near-death experiences, NDEs, or out-of-body experiences, OBs, are sometimes cited as anecdotal evidence for consciousness persisting independently of full brain function. While mainstream science often seeks conventional explanations, the consistency and transformative nature of some reports keep the debate alive. What many of these non-material or spiritual perspectives share is a leaning towards consciousness, in some form, being more fundamental than matter, resonating with some interpretations of panpsychism and idealism. The AI frontier. Can machines become conscious? We now turn to one of the most compelling questions of our time. Can artificial intelligence, can machines, ever achieve genuine consciousness? Modern AI, particularly deep learning and large language models, has achieved astounding feats, from composing music to engaging in human-like conversations. But is this intelligence, however sophisticated, the same as consciousness? Most experts agree current AI is narrow AI, proficient at specific tasks but lacking general understanding, adaptability, and subjective experience. The goal for some is artificial general intelligence, AGI. But even AGI doesn't automatically equate to consciousness. Arguments for potential AI consciousness include the idea of complexity and emergence. If consciousness is an emergent property of complex information processing, a sufficiently advanced AI might wake up. Computationalism, the view that the mind is a computational system, suggests mental processes can be replicated on silicon. However, strong arguments against, or for the extreme difficulty of AI consciousness exist? John Searle's Chinese room argument challenges whether symbol manipulation equals understanding or consciousness. The hard problem reappears for AI. Even if an AI behaves consciously, how would we know it has genuine subjective experience? It could be a philosophical zombie. Some argue for biological chauvinism, that consciousness is intrinsically tied to organic brains. Others emphasize embodiment, that consciousness requires physical interaction with the world, which current AIs often lack. If AI did become conscious, what would be the signs? The Turing test is likely insufficient. Researchers explore other markers: genuine curiosity, unprogrammed creativity, a sense of self-preservation, or an ability to integrate information as predicted by theories like IIT. Ultimately, any assessment would be inferential. The possibility of AI consciousness raises profound ethical questions. If an AI is conscious, does it deserve moral consideration or rights? Who is responsible for its actions? Could we inadvertently create artificial beings capable of suffering? These are no longer just science fiction scenarios, but urgent ethical discussions as AI becomes more integrated into our lives. The ongoing exploration. Our journey through the landscape of consciousness has taken us from the intricate folds of the human brain to the farthest reaches of philosophical speculation and the frontiers of artificial intelligence. As we've seen, consciousness is not a simple concept with an easy definition or a single, universally accepted explanation. It remains one of the most profound and challenging mysteries we face. Is it an illusion, a biological marvel, a fundamental feature of the cosmos, or something an advanced machine could one day possess? The truth is, we don't definitively know. Each perspective, scientific, philosophical, spiritual, technological, offers valuable insights but also reveals new layers of complexity. Neuroscience is rapidly advancing, but the hard problem of subjective experience persists. Philosophical debates continue to refine our questions and challenge our assumptions. Spiritual traditions offer paths of inner exploration that complement external investigation. And the development of AI forces us to confront what it truly means to be a conscious, thinking being. Why does understanding consciousness matter? Because it's intrinsically linked to our understanding of ourselves, our place in the universe, our values, and the future we are creating. How we answer these questions will shape our ethics, our societies, and our relationship with technology and with life itself. The exploration of consciousness is not just for scientists and philosophers. It's a human endeavor. What are your thoughts? Which ideas resonate most with you? What questions do you still have? We encourage you to share your perspectives in the comments below. This is a conversation that needs all of our voices. If you found this journey thought-provoking, please like this video, subscribe to the Noble Wisdom Path for more explorations into life's biggest questions, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the unknown. Thank you for joining us in pondering the mystery of consciousness. Keep questioning, keep exploring.